And I think he did it against his mother's will, to be honest. Now, I don't know that.
But college football has got to decide what they want. And I know things are changing. And I think things are going to change next year.
And here's the beauty about this. Kirby Smart, who doesn't need an advantage, he doesn't need any help, he is warning the entire college football world that, hey, we got a big problem, and if we don't fix it, it will continue to get worse. And I applaud that. Happy New Year, everybody. It is officially 2024. 2023 is in the past, and before we even get going and started on this video, I need to address this. Every year in early December, we set a subscriber mark, a goal to hit, and this year the goal was 310,000 subscribers. And at the time of setting that goal, to give you some context and perspective, we just hit 300K. And I knew it was going to be extremely hard to hit. I mean, make no mistakes about it. Gaining 10,000 subscribers in 1 month, that's not an easy achievement. And I remember seeing a comment, and I didn't take it as a hate comment or whatnot, and I think the guy was just giving me his honest opinion, but he stated, Matt, I don't think hitting 310K is realistic. And you're entitled to your own opinion, and hey, maybe it wasn't realistic, but guess what? We did it. So clap it up, clap it up. I don't just want to give a shout out to all the new subscribers, which are greatly appreciated, but I also want to give a major shout out to all the old subscribers. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for coming along this journey with me. It's been fun. It's been a heck of a ride, and hopefully there's many more years to come. Now, getting that out the way, we got to lock in. We got to get down to business and talk about all this crazy stuff that's going on in the college football world. But more importantly, we got to talk about this new, and I'm talking about a new and big problem that the college football world and landscape is facing. And I can't even sit up here and say it's controversial because most people, I'd say 95% of people, just think it's bad for a sport. And I don't even think it's up for debate. It's not good for a sport, but here's a real question. Just how bad is it? And is it also going to get worse? We're going to talk all about that in today's video. It is so important. This is the one and only topic we're going to be speaking on. I also want to make this a short and sweet video because I want to get back to watching these games that are going on currently. So yeah, nothing more to be said. But all right, Matt, blah, blah, shut the crap up now. Let's get into it. All right, first things first, I guess I'll address this because this news just hit my desk here. Ole Miss star quarterback Jackson Dart, he has announced he's coming back officially. I mean, I guess it's worth talking about, but I'm pretty sure I made this evidently clear to everybody. He is coming back. But I guess it's not officially official until he announces, and yeah, he announced it. Somebody in the comments actually said lunch meat for South Carolina. Buddy, what are you talking about? Bro, after like South Carolina's Georgia, Alabama. Calm down, buddy, calm down. I don't want to spend too much time talking about this because it's a different video for a different day, but remember, Lane Kiffin, Pete Golden, and that entire Ole Miss coaching staff, they've been dominating the transfer portal as well. And remember, got to remind some of y'all next year, it's not a 14 playoff, it is a 12-team playoff. And I think it is more than safe to say that with Jackson Dart coming back and the talent that Ole Miss has returning for next year and the talent they have coming in, they have a great shot. Not just a decent shot. No. They have a great shot at making that 12-team playoff. I'm excited, and this is a win-win all around because without Jackson Dart, Ole Miss is not a playoff team. But with them, they are a playoff team, and also this is good for Jackson Dart to develop a little bit more because he wasn't ready for the NFL this year. If he would have went out for the NFL this year, he might have got drafted, and this is best-case scenario, probably late third round, early fourth, maybe. I could see him falling either farther than that, but let's just say, theoretically speaking, for the sake of this video, he comes back next year, balls out, takes Ole Miss to the playoffs. He could be a second, maybe late first round pick. Who knows? Like I said, we'll talk more about that later in the week, but we gotta move on to the main topic, the main encore, main reason you clicked onto this video. What's going on in the college football world? Well, guess what? It involves no other than, yet again, it seems like the talk of the town, the Florida State cinnamon rolls. We're not going to talk about the Georgia-Florida State game, so don't worry about that. What we're going to talk about is what happened after the game, and more importantly, something that Kirby Smart said. In the post-game press conference, Kirby Smart stated, quote-unquote, people need to look at what happened tonight, and they need to fix this. I'll show you the short video clip right here, so Matt, roll clip.
Everybody can say that we had our guys and they didn't have their guys. I can listen to all that. But college football has got to decide what they want.
What about that? College football has got to decide what they want. Let's continue along here.
And I know things are changing. And I think things are going to change next year. And you know what? There's going to still be bowl games outside of those. People got to decide what they want and what they really want to get out of it. Because it's really unfortunate for those kids on that sideline that had to play in that game that didn't have their full arsenal. And it affected the game 100%.
And I'll show you this right here because you know the goofy goober himself, Lane Kiffin, had to give his 2 cents on this. He quote tweeted it and put facts. And here's the beauty about this. Kirby Smart, who doesn't need an advantage, he doesn't need any help, he is warning the entire college football world that, hey, We got a big problem, and if we don't fix it, it will continue to get worse, and I applaud that. But, and I have a really big but, you better believe this, here's what I don't think Kirby Smart understands about this, or maybe he does understand it, he just didn't say it. To Kirby Smart, my brother, I love everything about you, love what you're doing with Georgia, I could go on and on, y'all know how I feel about them. But let's be real with ourselves for a second. What transpired in that Georgia and Florida State game, that was a Florida State culture problem. That's it. And if you've been watching some of the previous videos, you know I've said this at least 10,000 times by now. And I'm about to show you another video clip where Kirby Smart addressed the opt-outs for Georgia, and it's really interesting and just goes to prove the difference of cultures at Florida State, Alabama, and Georgia. But I also want to make this exponentially clear, Kirby Smart is right. College football does have a problem. And it's relatively simple, so let me explain it to you. There's only a handful of programs out there, and probably only a few programs that have cultures like Alabama and Georgia. And what I'm referring to is where you're going to have guys like Bryce Young and Will Anderson play in a quote-unquote meaningless bowl game against Kansas State. Alabama and Georgia don't have this victim mentality and loser mentality where they put their head between their knees and cry about what they didn't get in this life. No, they go out there and take it. Remember, guys, it's not what happens to you in this life. It's how you respond to what happens to you. It's just a different mentality. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. And this doesn't apply to college football. This applies to your life. Winners never, let me repeat that word, they never make excuses. Winners always blame themselves, even if it's not their fault, and they always take accountability. And more importantly, they never feel sorry for themselves. And I don't care that Georgia didn't win the national championship this year. In my eyes and in my book, they're winners. But going back to this point here and the whole focal point of this video, what happened at Florida State is going to happen at other schools in the near future. Let me ask you a question, a real quick question here. Do you think guys like Keon Coleman and all those other transfers really care deeply about Florida State? No! Heck to the no. Those transfers at Florida State couldn't give two flying flamingos about that program. They're just using it as a leg up to get to the NFL. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just telling you how it is. Whereas, you see in the NFL, all those Alabama players, notice how they still associate with the program. They still come back to the program. They're still wearing Alabama uniform and Alabama gear. If you watch the NFL, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All the former Alabama and Georgia players that are currently in the league, they still express how much they love the program and they love the culture there. But how many times have you seen a NFL player express his love for Florida State and really be passionate about Florida State football? Maybe it does happen, but I haven't seen too much of it. That's the difference. And with the transfer portal and the NIL, you're going to see more of this happening, like I said, at other schools and colleges. When you have these players that are playing at their second or third school, there's no bond. There's no real relationship there. And when you didn't stick it out in the mud in a relationship and you didn't overcome some adversity, it makes it that much easier to leave and not care about it. So make no mistakes about it. This will continue to happen, not just at Florida State, but other schools as well. Let's take a look at this video clip, though. I haven't seen it. I had a few people send it to me on Twitter. So, Matt, roll clip.
Kamari Lassiter had a 1-2 grade, first, second round grade, and Kamari had to make a tough decision like all these other people. And I called Kamari in and I talked to him and I told him, Kamari, you should come out for the draft. That's my opinion. You're one of the top corners in the draft. You got to make that decision. Okay, that's one decision. Then the second decision is you got to decide if you want to play in this bowl game. I don't know that you got a lot to gain in this bowl game, Kamari, but I do know who you are.
That's a real coach right there, just giving it to him how it is, and I love that. I love coaches that don't BS and they tell you the cold, harsh truth. He told him straight up, hey, you're not going to gain much from this game, but we'd love to have you.
And I do know how you practice, and I do know how you lead, but I'm not going to be disappointed in anything you decide. He came back about 3 or 4 days later, and I met with him and his mom and talked to him and fully expected him not to play in this game. He called me 2 days later, said, Coach, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm sitting out. I'm over there coaching. I can't do it. I want to be out there. I want to play with my guys. And I think he did it against his mother's will, to be honest. Now, I don't know that.
And you know what? Let me address this, and this is the last pause. This is also something I haven't thought too much about. Kamari Lassiter saw his teammates going out there practicing, and he couldn't even stomach the thought of them going to battle, them going to war without him. I want you to think about that. It goes back to the culture, man. He didn't want to see his brothers. That's what it is. He didn't want to see his brothers go out there and be at a disadvantage without them. And as a former competitor and athlete myself, I can't believe the Florida State players did that. They knew they were going to be at a big-time disadvantage, and they just watched their quote-unquote brothers just get annihilated. It's a shame, man. It's an absolute shame. But let's continue along here.
But I think he did it against his mother's will because that's who he is. So all these teams that go shopping, this dude right here wants to play football. That's all he cares about is playing football and his teammates. He ain't worried about the next thing and all that and all that. He said, I want to play football. And he played football for the University of Georgia. And he did it when he didn't have to do it. And that's what's different at this place than a lot of other places. Thank you.
Wow, that's got me fired up and ready to run through a brick wall. He did it when he didn't have to do it. I want y'all to think about that. And after seeing that video clip, if you can't respect what Georgia has going on there, I don't know what to tell you besides you're a loser. And here's my question. Answer to me in the comment section. Why would anyone, if let's just say you were a 5-star recruit and you could go to any high school, not any high school, my apologies, any college in the nation, why would you choose Florida State over Georgia? Why? Hopefully next year we don't see another example of a Florida State case and scenario, but maybe it will happen. Who knows? Let me know your thoughts down below. But